If you're a parent wondering why children today seem to face more health challenges than ever before, you're not alone. While the CDC readily admits to the insanely high number of sick kids, 40% of kids in this country are struggling with a chronic illness. Now, other studies and experts put the number even higher at 50% and beyond. It's really, really sad. And one thing that we know for sure is that the CDC, the FDA, conventional medical system, they're light years behind their research, and they're never going to admit what's really going on with chronic illness and autism epidemics. We're aware that this is going to have to be navigated in a different way. Nor does it really matter what path you look down in this conversation. If you look at chronic gut issues, digestive disorders, chronic inflammatory illness, autoimmune conditions, and of course the chronic, severe, life-altering neurological conditions. Things like autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, sensory processing disorders, anxiety, epilepsy, depression. The list goes on. Millions and millions of kids and families in this country are suffering when they shouldn't be, and these conditions were so rare a few decades ago. What conventional medicine often blames as genetics or just purely bad luck, they're rushing to prescribe medications that only mask the symptoms, and these medications lead to even more problems and side effects. There's a deeper truth that most doctors aren't talking about. Now, this deeper, real root cause foundational problem is something that unfortunately even the open-minded holistic doctors, the natural health individuals, the functional medicine providers, they're missing, and they're not talking about it enough. The truth is that chronic illness in kids is almost always a multifactorial cause. The real root cause goes beyond just genetics, and it's also not just a simple singular toxin or poor nutrition that we can blame. We need to look even deeper than genetics or gluten, even things like glycophosphate. What if all these things are at a play partially, but they're not caused by just one singular factor? And of course, with the overprescription and overuse of medications, antibiotics, vaccinations, there's so many things, but there's more to the story. And the more pervasive and persistent cause of chronic illness in our kids and families is hiding in plain sight. It's just that nobody's discussing it, and that's what we're here today for. This video is for parents who not only feel frustrated and disappointed by conventional healthcare, but they've also already tried and exhausted every single natural and holistic treatment option out there. If you've tried the medications, you've taken the handfuls of supplements, you've done the detoxifications, and maybe you've even gone to the extent of a hyperbaric oxygenation, you've done things like neuroinflammation treatments, this video is for you. And you're going to find a lot of helpful information in a different viewpoint and a different operation stance when we look at the management of healthcare. If you dive in deep and you know that your gut is telling you that you're missing a foundational piece to this puzzle, you're going to find that information right here in this video. We're going to dive in deeper into the actual truth. Then we're going to touch base on science. We're going to get the full story that nobody else is actually talking about when it comes to chronic illness in our kids. We're going to discover and uncover the hidden connection between early life stressors, how these stressors can affect the development of the nervous system and create dysfunction and dysregulation, and how these items actually lead to chronic health conditions in our kids. You're going to learn about the perfect storm, which is a very unique concept that explains why so many kids struggle with chronic conditions. Most importantly, you're going to discover how addressing this foundational and very real root cause approach through neurologically focused care can really help your child heal naturally and more completely than anything else out there. Your child can heal from within, and it doesn't need to be something that you put into their body from the outside in. Let's start off with breaking down the perfect storm, which is early life stressors. And these early life stressors are leading to chronic health conditions as kids age. Now, this is a complex health crisis, and it starts off with three very basic fundamentals that create this perfect storm that I discuss, and it's affecting the children's developing nervous system. Number one is we have to look at the high levels of maternal stress during pregnancy and or the fertility challenges that moms are going through. A lot of moms are forgetting that the stress that is placed on your body during the pregnancy, it affects the development of that child's nervous system. Now, if there's been early warning signs like fertility challenges, moms are unable to get pregnant within a normal time period, these are subtle indicators that something's going on with the normal performance of your body. And these things are being ignored. And instead of touching base on why it's happening, we're just moving past it and offering treatment solutions to get pregnant. The second thing is birth interventions and trauma. Things that are so commonly done: C-sections, forceps, inductions, vacuum extractions, cord wrapped, epidurals, Pitocin, like the list goes on. These interventions are physically and chemically altering how these children are progressing in life. And then we're going to look at the early exposure to medications, antibiotics, toxins, environmental stressors, vaccines. Like, there's so many different things that our children are exposed to that these early exposures really can have an effect on our children. Now, today we're going to focus also on the other extreme stress, things that are very new with the overuse of technology, smartphones, the exposure to the internet, social media. These are things that put massive stress on the child's nervous system long before they're ready to actually understand this emotional connection of what they're seeing. I mean, look how many infants, children, are being exposed to videos and or images on an iPhone. It's really something that people aren't looking at an effect with this particular cause. So now that you understand to a certain degree how this perfect storm is, I'm going to explain the role of the nervous system and how dysregulation, dysfunction, dysautonomia, and really what a term called subluxation is. See, when a child's developing brain and nervous system are exposed to these stressors early and often, it's going to cause the autonomic nervous system to shift into a sustained fight or flight response. Now, this means that the sympathetic nervous system is stuck in overdrive and is constantly switched on. This is what looks like colic or fussiness in an infant, constant meltdowns or tantrums, and troubles with transitions as a toddler. And then as a young child, you see impulsivity, behavioral issues, focus or concentration challenges in school. These things evolve. And then we see as teenagers and young adults, it grows into anxiety or ADHD. The state of constant stress prevents children from being in their natural growth and development mode. It's throwing them off the track from what we see with normal development. Now, the early warning signs are things like colic or reflux, things with constipation, chronic ear infections, these developmental delays that aren't just isolated issues that kids grow out of, but they're actually red flags, signaling a deeper neurological dysfunction, and the perfect storm is still brewing. Meaning that if you look at how traditional medicine looks at illness, your child suffers from an abnormal presentation in their health. Doctors will prescribe medications or they'll tell you that they're going to grow out of it, but there's never an investigation of what the effect is long term. So once the nervous system is thrown into this sympathetic overdrive, it creates an imbalance, which is what we call dysautonomia. And this becomes dysregulated, and then it shuts down the function of other core bodily functions, primarily things like digestion, respiration, the immune system, motor planning. When the nervous system is consistently stuck in sympathetic fight or flight, it really has to steal energy from other main systems of the body in order to protect the individual's growth. So the first system that's going to get disrupted is the gut and the digestive system. Now, this system shuts down digestive motility, absorption, assimilation, elimination. It leads to limited detoxification pathways and the capabilities in leaving the body with too much built up of toxins. And then you get this unwanted bacteria, viruses, pathogens, and even parasites. The body simply can't get these toxins out. So this imbalance causes this stagnant environment of toxicity inside the body. We're putting all these things into the body and the body can't get rid of it. And there is a result that happens with kids as this happens. The next system that gets disrupted, it causes a malfunction to our respiratory immune system. You have to remember that the lungs not just bring air in, but it also expires toxins. It gets stuff out of the body. This sustained sympathetic stress mode here leaves the immune system in a hyperssensitive and a pro-inflammatory state. This is what we call a neurosystemic inflammation, and now it's implicated in nearly every chronic health condition that we see in kids, everything from autism to autoimmune conditions. Now, another system that's significantly altered by subluxation and nervous system dysfunction is the sensory motor system. And our children's overall motor tone and coordination is going to be affected. This leads to sensory challenges, gross and fine motor delays, speech delays, the list goes on. Not only does conventional medicine, they're not going to be focusing on the cause, they're just going to chase symptoms, and they're going to work on individual systems versus the whole body and nervous system approach. Now, the functional medicine and natural medicine doctors do the exact same thing. They just work with different approaches, supplementations, detoxes. So you have the majority of doctors who are isolating individual organs. And they're forgetting that the body works in tune with itself, and they're forgetting that the foundation is the actual nervous system. So whether you're using prescription medications or you're using supplements, you're still addressing individual organs instead of looking at the whole cause of the problem. Now, this is very different because in a neurologically focused chiropractic office, we focus on all the organ systems in the body by working with the autonomic nervous system itself. See, this nervous system dysregulation and dysfunction and dysautonomia, it doesn't show up in any kind of medical testing or labs results. You can't do blood work or hair test analysis. You can only find these foundational root causes through scans called the insight scanning technology. Now, this technology is specifically designed for this dysautonomia. Our scans allow us to look in deeper, beyond just the symptoms, and beyond things even like that gut-brain connection and the inflammation route. And we can actually find out why those core bodily systems are dysfunctional and they're off track. It's a very different approach, and it's one that works really well. The good news is that your child's health challenges aren't simply genetic. There's not a genetic flaw or a poor destiny or bad luck for them. By finding and addressing the real root cause, this nervous system dysfunction and dysregulation, we can help to restore a balance and function naturally to the brain and body without actually ending in just continual medications or interventions. At Maximize Chiropractic, this advanced technology called Insight Scans allows us to assess your child's nervous system function, and it creates a personalized care plan that addresses their root dysregulated imbalance. And it's head-on, it's safe, it's gentle, it's neurologically focused chiropractic care, and the adjustments are gentle, they're safe. And this is where kids love the environment that we have. If you're ready to discover the real root cause of your child's health struggles, and you're looking to learn about natural, drug-free solutions, click on the link in our bio to learn more about how we address the root cause in a neurologically focused approach. The real root cause of chronic illness in kids is a journey that expands much larger past this individual approach to treating symptoms. We can get to the root cause and help your child thrive in their future.